thank you for your introduction. And thank you for attending this presentation about FME and Tableau. And you see three names on this first slide. This is Jurgen, I'm Henry, and Marijn. This is this guy, and this is a conference about FME, and he is our Tableau guy. So if you want to know more about Tableau, you should contact Marijn. He is really fond of doing all kind of stuff with Tableau. And Jurgen is the guy who's fond of doing all kind of stuff with FME, and I like both products. So our presentation will be about how we use FME to put data into Tableau, and Tableau we use for make smart decisions. So this is Jurgen. He has already been introduced. Knows a lot about software development, knows a lot about FME. Recently became a certified professional. And we both work for Sueko in the Netherlands. And I'm Henry. I'm manager for business development, and I have a very nice job. I'm the only team manager within our organization who doesn't have any members in his team. I just try to gather people together and create new stuff and new solutions within our organization. And I like to do innovative stuff. And this is my wife, and she also likes FME. She's not a technician, she's just a teacher in a school with children, but I forced her to put on this hat. And probably a lot of you already know Sueko from earlier user conferences. And yeah, Sueko is a company organized in Sweden. And 2 years ago, we as a Dutch company became part of the Sueko family. And we were already using FME for quite a long time, I think maybe already 10 years. And we use it in a very traditional way, putting data from one file format to another file format. And then suddenly those Swedish guys appeared in our organization, and then we really became part of the FME family. So for us, it's the first time we attend this user conference, and for sure it will not be the last one. And together with our Swedish colleagues, we do a lot of fun stuff with FME. And within our organization in the Netherlands, we do a lot of software development for our customers. We are really involved in asset management, so create all kinds of solutions to do life cycle costs. We come on that later. We do software for surveying and mapping and GIS. And FME is for us crucial in software development and create all kinds of new solutions. And I think the connection we can make with our software with FME to Tableau, it's created all kinds of new possibilities for us. So for us, FME is crucial in our software development. And now, Jurgen will start telling about the big topic of this presentation, how we use FME and Tableau to make better decisions around this topic, and I will finish with some other examples. Jurgen.
Yeah, so within Sueko in the Netherlands, we have the three products that we develop, and the one I mostly work on is Observe, which is a web-based application for asset management. And most of our customers are municipalities, and what they can basically do is they keep track of all of their assets. So we have different topics like the green areas, road networks, utility networks, civil constructions. Anything that you see outside can basically be tracked in here. So what they do, they start with taking inventory. Once they have that, they can perform inspections on their assets. When they've done an inspection, they get some maintenance out of it if it's outdated or the quality of the asset is bad. And with all those maintenance they need to do, they can create a budget. And for this project we did with Tableau, we looked at road inspections and road budgets. And in Observe, it kind of looks like this. So if you work with this every day and you know a lot about your road network, this makes perfect sense. Every row is basically one segment of a road, and it tells you something about the quality and whether it needs maintenance or not. And if it does need maintenance, it will tell you how much it costs and when, according to some calculations, you should be doing it. And although this is good for someone that works with it every day and knows the data, it doesn't really say anything to a manager higher up. For them, it's just, well, in this case, almost 8,000 rows of data. They can't really see where it is or what it means, and they are mostly the ones making the decisions. The managers mostly decide how much of a budget the different segments get. So the person that made this budget has to go to his manager and tell, like, okay, I need this amount of money because I want to do this maintenance. And yeah, that's where we ran into our problem. We wanted to optimize the data and visualize it. We wanted to take the standard input that we already have, because those are already some advanced calculations behind it. But we figured while we're going to present this, we might as well enhance the data. So we also wanted to keep user input into account. Also keeps track of the fact that there is a limited budget. We can do calculations and we can say, like, okay, we just want to fix every road segment. But yeah, in real time and in real life, I mean, you never have an unlimited budget. So we wanted to keep that in mind. And last but not least, maybe the most important one, we wanted to make it accountable, that the person that goes to his manager can actually show, okay, I'm going to do this with this amount of money, and I'm going to work on that piece of road because of this reason. So that's where we really wanted to use FME, because FME gave us the opportunity to combine all the data we need and write it out to the right platforms or right formats. The observe, what we read in, it's basically Oracle database. So that's why we also write to it in the end. And FME has some really powerful transformers to get the data out and combining and manipulating and transforming it. And we also read in an Excel, which basically contains all the user input, because it's an easy format to question the users with. Then we write it out until 4 different formats. The shape, we won't really do a lot with that. It's mostly used as a reference layer. The municipalities, a lot of people still work with AutoCAD or different applications, and they can import it as a background map. The Excel, it's mostly returned back to the real expert that knows the data, so he can do some checkups or more calculations. We write to Oracle just so we can get it back into our own application. And of course, the most important one is that we write it into Tableau, of course. So we start with the user input. Every municipality has their own approach on how to maintain their roads. They have different budgets. Some municipalities might put a big focus on bike paths instead of roads into a living area. The materials, maybe asphalt is way more important for a municipality than concrete roads. And there's also quite some different themes when you go into road maintenance, like safety, durability, comfort, which is the most important one. So when we start, we mostly send Marijn van den Berg. He's our asset management specialist. We send him out to a customer, and he helps them out filling in a few of these forms, where they can basically score what topics they find important. And once they get used to this, they can start playing around with it. They can fill it in again and again and just rerun the workspace to see what it does with the output. And this is all still done in Excel, so that's pretty easy. But afterwards, when we really want to get the asset management data, it becomes a lot harder. The application keeps on growing and growing, and assets, they have a lot of information onto them. So we really need something to pull the right data out. At this point, we're about 500 tables and way more views and packages with functions we can call. And that's probably where at least one of my favorite transformers comes in, which are the SQL executor and the SQL creator. Since we work with databases, these two really allow us to get all the right data straight out of the database. I heard earlier this morning that they're going to enhance the original writers and readers to get the exact data, but so far this works really nice. I don't have to get the entire table in. I can just ask for the columns that I need to do my calculations in. Besides that, you can also call some SQL functions if needed. And I think even the best thing about doing it with these two transformers is the workspace comes so much faster. I don't have to read in 5 different tables, join them or merge them together and use all the attribute keepers. And it's a really nice way to getting the data I want. But then we run into like the main thing we use FME for in this project, which is the management of the actual attributes. We need to do quite a lot of preparations. In our database, and I think in most Oracle databases, there's still a lot of using of code values, and we do need to make some translations to actually make them useful and meaningful for the end user. And of course, since we have all the new user input, we need to do some calculations as well to get to the results we want. And that's where, well, the data of attribute manager really comes in. Besides the fact that we can remove and create and rename the attributes, we kind of like to use it as well for conditions and translating values. So in this case, we are looking at some user parameters, and we say, okay, when it fits this condition, we translate it to something that actually means something for the manager. I think this is about the score. When it's below a certain level, we say that there's no risk on that road segment. Or when it exceeds a certain score, we say, okay, you really need to work on it. It has a very high risk as it is right now. And another thing we can use it for is all the calculations. The arithmetic editor really helps us out to make some easy calculations and eventually give every road segment a score on whether it needs to be the first one to work on or the last one. And maybe the most important one, this really helped us out. Since FME inserted the Tableau ReaderWriter, it made life so much easier. My colleague made the dashboard in Tableau, and with this we can just write a new file, the dashboard will recognize it, and it will just automatically update it. We don't need to make a new dashboard every time. It's just a straight writer that is very easy to use, and it opens so much possibilities for us to create fast dashboards. And once we start going to the output, I mean, the rest of the workspace is mostly just sorting the data, that it goes into the right order and gets the right scores. Then the first output is a bit shocking, has a lot of bright colors. This is just the Excel with the hard numbers. This goes back to the hardcore user that knows his roads. And really all the red ones, that means, okay, you need to put attention to this. In the middle, the white column, it set a score to each road segment. So the one which is on top, which basically is number 1, there's really something wrong with that according to the user's input. So they need to start working on that. This is what we write back to our database. We basically have a new table where we write all the results in so we can actually use it inside the application, that the user doesn't have to switch or look for the dashboards or Excels afterwards. But by far the most important one is, of course, the Tableau dashboards. The nice thing about these is really that it gives you such a powerful overview of all your data, and you can just take it to your manager. You don't really need a lot of extra applications to manage and work with it. And the most powerful thing is by far for us the interactive ability. We can have a map, we can have the graphs with all the costs, we can have filters. It's so easy to work with. I think you don't really need any pre-knowledge to get into it and look at a dashboard and see what it means. And this is an older version of it, but it shows why we think it's such a powerful tool. Let's see if it works. Yeah, because here you can actually, the person made it can go up to his manager and say like, okay, I need a certain amount of budget because I want to work on roads that have a high risk, And I think in this case, it's all bike paths made of asphalt. And thanks to the fact that Tableau is so interactive, the map instantly shows all the road segments, that, where to find them, which one have the highest risk. And the nice thing is that the tables on the side, all the graphs, they correspond with it. So it makes it a lot easier to make decisions on, to see how much budget you have, what road segments you can adjust with it, and on that case, come to the perfect match of, well, money and amount of work you can do. And I think from here, it's best you take over for the next examples.
Okay. Now, what's also very nice is that 1 year ago we didn't knew that there was a tool which was called Tableau. We did some stuff with Excel, or we did some stuff with Power BI for Microsoft. And then I think around summer there was a webinar of Safe Software about FME and Tableau. So this guy who's now our Tableau user made a call to Jurgen. I've seen something fantastic, and when I came back from my holidays, the first thing I heard was, Henry, come to the room, we have something terrific for you, and that was Tableau. So we also appreciate the fact that Safe Software puts a lot of effort in all those webinars. And I will finish with some other examples we did with Tableau last year. Here you see the Netherlands. It's a small country in the western part of Europe. And here you see a map of approximately 400 municipalities. And in December we did a hackathon, and we asked our organization just make some fun stuff. And there was a group of 5 guys who did create this dashboard, and what they did, they connected FME with 40 databases with all kind of data from our customers, and they created a benchmark. And I was organizing this hackathon, and I got a little nervous because they were only preparing data. So I think they were working the day 7-8 hours on preparing data with FME, with Excel, with shapefiles, but I hadn't seen any results yet. And everybody had to pitch his result, and I put them as last in all these pitches, so I give them a half an hour extra. And then they arrived with this result. And they made it in 20 minutes. And that's also what I realized. Most effort is in data preparation, but the results you can create really fast. So really impressive. And here you see the data for, I think approximately 40 municipalities, and we compare it, and we created all kind of analysis how well different municipalities perform. Very nice. This is another one our colleague created. He worked for a municipality, and he created an overview. He put in a lot of maps in a database. He put costs to these objects. From every object he calculated which is the cost for renewal of a certain object. And then sometimes a dashboard becomes very impressive, because this is a municipality of approximately 100,000 inhabitants, and the cost for renewal of this infrastructure is 1.2 billion euro, approximately 2 billion Canadian dollar. And with Tableau you can easily filter all kind of data in your data set, and you can see where the real investments in your infrastructure is. So for instance, these are the sewer systems, these are the civil constructions, and so I think a manager can make better decisions than if you just look to your spreadsheets in Excel. And this is the last one, and here I put in a request for change for Tableau. And here we, as an engineering consultancy company, we do a lot of consultancy for organizations, and we did a project for a certain municipality, and they wanted to know the maturity of their organization on data management. So on the lowest level in this pyramid, you see the operational level, then you get the technical level, and in the top is the strategic level. And in Tableau you don't have such a window or such a graph. So what this guy actually did, he created a shapefile, put it in a map, and these are just polygons. So a green polygon is about the part of the organization which performs well. Red, there is still some improvement to do. So we solved the problem, but it would be really great if there in the future would be something like this in Tableau. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and thank you for your attendance.
Thank you, gentlemen. So we have some time for questions if there's any in the audience. I'll start you off with one question. I noticed you had a sorter right before the Tableau writer. What was the reason for the sorter? Is that necessary, or did it just help with the data preparation?
The sorter at the end really, before writing it, also sorted everything like that. We do have the scores.
Oh, by the risks?
Yes, that which like the most important one gets in first. I think that also had to, I think Marijn also had to do that to get the calculations right for all the graphs in Tableau itself.
Any questions? One at the back here.
Tableau dashboard, is it web-based or do you need the software?
I think you have a desktop application where you can design the dashboard, and you have it's almost like FME. You have a desktop license, or you can have a desktop license. You have a server license and an online license. So I think it's almost similar as FME.
You switched from Power BI to Tableau. Can you just comment why?
In fact, we did not really switch. We added another dashboard to our solutions. So for us, most important is what is the demand of a customer. And at the moment we use Power BI, but most of the time we use Tableau. I think 90% of the time we use Tableau. And we did recently, we looked to Esri, it's called, I think, ArcGIS for Insights, or Insights for ArcGIS. But I think it's a really first release. So at the moment, I think 90% is done with Tableau, 10% with Power BI, and maybe Esri will be in our stack the coming years.
Yeah.
So, but I think the request for your customer, what they want, is most important.
Are there any other questions from the audience here? All right, we'll close it off here. Thank you very much again, gentlemen.